All right, so this is just for my thoughts. When trading Forex and commodities and so on, you need to have a broad thesis. My thesis right now is that the dollar might strengthen. There's a reason for that. First of all, I think there might be a flight to quality with money going to the dollar and US bonds and the treasuries market. So in the light of potential economic and political instability going forward into this year. So that's the first thing. I think that's supportive of the dollar. I think the interest rate differentials for the carry trade are supportive of the dollar in that we might see people taking the money out of potentially volatile and difficult to read stock markets and other markets, metals, gold, etc., and moving that into the dollar. So, yeah, I don't know how I got into that. Flight to safety, I suppose. And then we've got interest. Yeah, I was talking about interest rate differentials. You get 5.25% now on the dollar overall, just in the bank, Reserve Bank. A little bit more, obviously, if you invest in high street banks. Just put your money in the bank. Whereas in Switzerland and Europe and the UK, although some of those are approaching the dollar, they're not as high. You don't get as much money, but on the currency markets, international carry trade, which is selling one currency to buy another one, or borrowing one currency, borrowing euros to buy pounds, the interest rates that you pay on the euro are lower than the interest rates you gain on buying the pound. It's called the carry trade. I think that's supportive of the dollar. I think the dollar's been talked up too much, down too much rather. I think there's been a lot of hype about de-dollarization. I think it's overblown. I think it's a lot of hoo-ha, really, and that we'll see the dollar react to that and possibly be supported by central banks in the US, the central bank, the Fed, and businesses and those with vested interest in America and the dollar being king, supporting it in the light of all of this chit-chat and nonsense. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I consider it to be a conspiracy theory at this stage. Perhaps in time that'll come to fruition. I don't know. These are just random thoughts. So, and I've just got out of bed. I slept late because I had a very late night last night, and I just got out of the bath. So I'm just blurring this out, and it might be interesting for you to watch this. The other thing is, technically, I think the dollar is oversold. If you look at the dollar chart, not only is it oversold, the dollar index, not only is it oversold, but it's also got to this very interesting technical level just above 100, about 101.50, 101.40, 30, somewhere around there. Doesn't really matter whether it's 101.20, 102, 101.30. Those numbers are not precise and exact. A lot of people who trade like to go off exact numbers. That's nonsense. It's an area around about just above 100. It's a good technical support level for the dollar. It's the median price for the dollar. That's the halfway price. The dollar's above there, it's kind of strongish. But if the dollar's below there, it's kind of weak. And I think we need to be above there. I think the market wants it to be above there. I think the government, the US government, wants it to be above there. And there's just been way too much pressure on the dollar. People actually selling the dollar against the euro and the pound. I don't see why the euro and the pound, being two of the biggest contributors towards the dollar index, should be strong in the midst of failing economies, crippling energy costs, cost of living crises, a massive, potentially overspilling war on their doorstep, all sorts of problems going on in the Eurozone and in Britain. I don't see any reason why, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I could go on and on and on. I've got family who live there, who speak to me regularly. And the consumer spending power has just fallen off a cliff. We're going to see terrible numbers coming out of the UK in the mortgage market, in the home market, car sales, retail sales, lending, credit card maximization, maxing out, all of that sort of thing. What's going on? Not to say it's not going on in the US, but I think Europe's worse. I honestly do. And if you look at the numbers, that seems to imply that. So why should the euro and the pound exhibit strength relative to the US dollar? I don't know. I don't think they should. So we've got all that, and we've got these technical levels. Now, if you look at the charts, which we will do shortly, later on in this video or the next one, you can see that this level on the dollar index is particularly interesting. It's the dividing line, excuse me, between the strongs, excuse me. You're lucky I'm putting this up. It's the dividing line, this video, because it's just a mess, but it's interesting. It's the dividing line between a strong dollar and a weak dollar. Are we likely to see a stronger dollar or a weaker dollar? Given all that I've just said now, I think it's more likely to be stronger. So we'll look at the charts. You can see that we've got divergence, we've got supporting patterns, we've got an oversold chart. We saw massive rallies on the euro and the pound on Friday. Not rallies, drops. Rally on the dollar. Shaven bottoms on the euro and the pound against the dollar. Incredibly bearish, breaking through support levels, moving down, breaking structure, all the beautiful, lovely cliches that people like to say, breaking structure, divergence, all that. No, well, the prices just collapsed off the cliff. That's all that happened. Nothing really to say about that, apart from euro and the pound were weak. Dollar was strong, breaking through support levels, and likely continue into the coming week. So we're short those, and we were short most of last week, the euro and the pound. When it comes to the yen, it's a little bit more interesting because we've got minus 0.1% interest rates in Japan. But is there any reason for the Japanese yen to be strong? Yes, there are a few reasons, which we'll talk about at another time. But we're going to see, I think, an improvement in the status or the strength of the Japanese yen for a number of reasons. And that means that the dollar yen will begin to move down, means the yen strengthens. That means the euro, if the euro and the pound are weakening against the yen, the euro yen and the pound yen, the Australian dollar yen, the Canadian dollar yen, all of those are likely to drop further than the dollar yen itself, because those are going to weaken those currencies against the dollar. So we short those as well. Stock markets, I really don't know. We'll talk about that later in the video. But we've been selling Europe, we've been selling NASDAQ, S&P, Apple, AMD, Nvidia, etc. for a while now. And every time we sell at the top, we make some money. We haven't been buying the dips, but we've been selling the rallies, and we've made money. How long that's going to work, I don't know. Maybe we'll see those things blow through the roof. But I think if the dollar strengthens, we're going to see the stock markets come down. Well, how does this all affect commodities, crypto, and gold? I think gold might struggle a bit now, right now. I think we might see some more money going to the US dollar, which means gold might struggle, which means that we might have to just accept that gold's going to come down a little bit, down to 1900, 1880, 1820, before we can start to buy gold. Crypto, I think we're going to see come off back down to 20,000 on Bitcoin. And then commodities. Commodity prices will, if the dollar strengthens, commodity prices will come down, excluding energy. I'm not talking about energy. I'm talking about things like sugar and soya and a couple of other things, maybe a couple of other metals, uranium, slightly different energy. I think energy prices are likely to go up. But anyway, all of that, I think overall the sort of, commodities that one, grains and softs and orange juice. Orange juice seems to be a good sell to me, actually, interestingly. Coffee, all the stuff that we consume every day, foodstuffs. I think those prices will come down, perhaps starting with sugar. So I'm short sugar. Sugar's most overbought of all of them. Through the roof. Sugar futures, we've got a 2-month contract rollover period, so we can hold on to those trades for a while. Not like last time, where I got stopped out. Anyway, this is all a lot of rambling. I just wanted to give you my thoughts. And this is a messy video, but it's interesting. I think those are most of my thoughts. I'm going to do a technical video later on today and upload it for you to watch. So excuse the huffing and the puffing and the raspy chest. I do smoke cigarettes occasionally, so I wake up in the morning with a bit of a raspy chest, wet hair and stuff, fresh from the from a 8-hour sleep. I normally sleep 5 hours a day. I had an 8-hour sleep last night, which makes me feel like I've overslept horribly, which is the same feeling, interestingly, as undersleeping. Weird. I'll see you in the video. Have a great day. It's Sunday. But Sunday night, in a few hours' time, I'll send you a technical video with some charts and not just pictures of me rambling into the phone. I actually started this video just to make some notes for me to prepare for my notes for myself, to prepare for my update video. And I thought maybe I'll just actually put this up on YouTube. I'll speak to you soon.